Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so made the quickest NBA chat video that I probably made in a long time, and that's because I had arrived where I was at and really only saw like a half of basketball, but I said I was going to check the score, but I forgot to as I walked out of here. Now I turned on the camera. So yeah, the Clippers Mavericks game is going on, and hopefully it goes the Mavericks way, although I did pick the Clippers in 7, and that would put the Clippers down 3-1. So rooting for my pick may be in my best interest, but I hate the Clippers that much, so there's that. But anyway, yeah, so Lakers, how about us, huh? Won a game against the Denver Nuggets, that's who that is. Hadn't done that in a very long time. Definitely proud of our effort, definitely proud of just the overall attitude of the team, not mailing it in when it's very easy to do so under those circumstances, because I thought it was really easy to mail it in there. We did not. I thought that Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell played probably the best game they played together in the playoffs. I don't remember everything that they did last year, but this year for sure, I don't think neither one of them had played together as well as they did last night. And I don't know if I can trust that. If I expect for them to both play great from here on out, that wouldn't be necessarily the truth. I don't expect for them to play great together. And what scares me is that I don't think we can win without them doing so. There's a few things I'm wondering if it's going to take place in Game 5, or if we're able to extend the series, if it's something that we'll probably see. One, is Jamal Murray going to start shooting well? Because if so, we need to be on guard for that. If his 35.11 out of 17 game is coming. I'm just telling y'all right now, I expect that to come. Unless he's hurt. He did grab his hamstring. That's the one he had the knee issues with. So I don't know if he's going to be hobbled. I think we should target him defensively. See if he can move laterally like he's supposed to. Be able to. If not, maybe we can get him in foul trouble early in Game 5. Because if he's not himself, that definitely can help us for sure. So that's one thing that I want to do if I'm the Lakers. And then I'm wondering, Anthony Davis has been playing fantastic all series long. Are we going to have a 15-point, 15-rebound Anthony Davis game coming? And if so, can we get 40 points from D'Lo and Austin together, 21 yesterday they both had, to make up for it? That's what I'm wondering about. Is there going to be some regression to the AD play? Because he's been playing so great. He's been scoring so much, especially in the first half of these games. He's been balling. We're headed up to altitude. Is he going to continue to play like this? You know what I mean? And if so, I mean, obviously, we're with our back against the wall. Any game we lose, we're out of here. So don't get it twisted. It's not like I'm confused about how much basketball we potentially have left to play. 4 quarters left. If we don't win, we're out. But Game 5 is what's in front of us. Is he gonna give us another 30-point Anthony Davis game? Because if so, that could really help us go a long way in us possibly winning that basketball game. And if there is a Game 6, will that be the game where he goes for 15 points, 15 boards, and starts to regress back to the Anthony Davis that he tends to be when he doesn't score as well? So there's certain things that we have been able to enjoy as Laker fans, even though these games haven't been going our way, that I don't know if they'll stay that way. If they will stay that way. Can we continue to count on AD playing this well? Can we continue to count on D'Lo and Austin both playing well? Austin's been playing great for the last 2 games. Is he going to regress at any point? Or can he elevate from here? I personally think Austin Reeves someday is going to be a 40-point game guy. Not to say he's going to do that every game, but his career high is going to be 40 or something. It would be great if he taps into that now. And I think the only way he's going to do that is if he is aggressive, as he's been these last 2 games, and gets hot from behind the arc. I want to see him do that. I want to see him be aggressive. I want to see him believe in his stardom, and give us what he has accordingly. He's somebody who can help us a lot on the offensive end. Defensively, he can help us by rebounding the ball. He's been doing a good job on Jamal Murray, so I think his defense has improved, and he's having a pretty solid series, all things considered. So can we get from him what we got from him these last 2 games? Because if so, that'll go a long way in us winning Game 5. So And then Rui Hachimura, he seemed to snap out of his shooting slump yesterday. 2 out of 3, back to being efficient. He didn't shoot very much, but hey, we never asked him to shoot very much. I think we should ask him to shoot more when he's shooting like that, but hey, what do I know? Can we see him play well in altitude? Because that's been a problem. Also, Lakers did a lot of things that worked yesterday that I really liked defensively. The way we were doubling from different angles, surrounding Jokic, it worked, man. Having people speeding at him from different directions and then rotating off to the person he would otherwise pass to, that looked great, man. That looked great, and I think it confused the hell out of the Denver Nuggets. I do expect for them to adapt to it, which it means we're gonna have to continue to come up with stuff that works for us. But we got to do that again in Game 5, man. What has hurt us in this series is not continuing to do what works and not working out things that we've had success with in the past. Freelancing, too much ISO ball, standing around ball in the third quarter specifically. If we don't return to that, and I didn't see a whole lot of that in Game 4, if we don't return to that, we force the Denver Nuggets defense to try to figure out ways of defending what they have trouble defending. You put the pressure on them to find answers. And so that's what I want the Lakers to continue to do. Mix up your defense. As a lot of guys have been saying, mix your pitches up. That works. And then on the other end, continue to trust your plays. It's okay to run plays all game long. Maybe they study those plays to get used to those plays, but it doesn't matter if they understand those plays. They got to be able to stop them. And if you're running stuff they can't stop, pick and roll action works for us, you know. All these different things that we tried in Game 4, I'd love for us to return to that in Game 5. And then last but not least, it's what I said after the game. It's effort. We gave a lot of desperate effort in Game 4. I thought that worked in our favor in a major way. We cannot be satisfied because we've snapped the streak. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. If we go down by 10 early in these games, in Game 5, for which we haven't faced, we have to put the pressure on this team to know that we can cover 20 points on top of them, 15 points on top of them, because we've had leads in all of these games. I do not expect the Denver Nuggets to come out as slow in Game 5 as they've come out in all 4 of these games. I do not expect the Lakers to go into the locker room with a lead every game from here. We got to be ready for the buzzsaw, which is another word I stole from listening to the podcast, that is likely to be coming from the Denver Nuggets. They're going to come out hot. They're going to come out with a certain level of urgency. And our desperation, if our heads are still in the series, should, in theory, be more severe toward them than what their urgency should be toward us. We have what I consider a psychological benefit, which is our back against the wall early in the series. As we continue to play with that urgency, they get closer to having to be in that position themselves. And once you start winning, if you win Game 5, you're going to see them play desperate like you've been forced to play in Game 4 and Game 5. And that's why I think this team should have the confidence and the urgency to go all out in Game 5, because you've now put the pressure on the Denver Nuggets to straighten up their collar and play their best ball. And to be honest with you, they haven't done that. They've been able to benefit from the Lakers' psychological disadvantage, not necessarily believing they can beat the Denver Nuggets. Well, we just beat the Denver Nuggets. And guess what? Denver Nuggets ain't played well in all of these games. We've had big leads in all of these games. So what are you going to do if you're the Los Angeles Lakers? You're going to understand you have your back against the wall, and you're going to understand that the Denver Nuggets do not. And that is something that should bring forth a certain desperation that they have to try to self-manifest. You don't have to. You're really in that situation. And so I like this for the psychological nature of what it is that we're faced with. This team has tended to play well when they're motivated enough to do so. We saw that in the play-in tournament. When they have their mindset on winning, they tend to win. When they don't have their mindset on winning, or otherwise feel like someone has a psychological advantage on them, they tend to lose. And so for us, it's like what I saw in Game 4 was the urgency necessary from all players and coaches to say, we are not ready to go home. We want to play this series, make it interesting. And if they can just keep that and attach it to more desperation like they showed in Game 4, then I like our chances in Game 5 to really push the Denver Nuggets, who haven't been shooting well, who have had deficits in all these games, to start to wonder if we're the team that's going to finally come back from an 0-3 deficit. Because when you really dig into what the Lakers have actually been doing throughout the first 4 games of this series, we have had big leads in all of those games. So when you consider the idea of what it takes to come back from such a deficit, you got to consider that the Lakers have had advantages in all of those games. So if anybody's going to come back, in theory, it's going to be a team who's found success early in each game that they lost. In theory. And found a way to overcome blowing leads, and creating deficits with their psychological lack of focus. And to continue to work on things that they automatically are finding has worked for them in pockets of basketball games. It's our focus that's been beating us, or lack of it. And when you consider the fact that we won Game 4, snapped the 11-game losing streak against this team, seeing them bleed, so to speak, now we're playing with house money. Any loss sends us home, and the Denver Nuggets have the pressure now on them to respond to finally getting beaten by a team that's really been dominating them in the beginning of each and every game they've played against them. When the Lakers finally look in the mirror and realize what they've been able to accomplish in all of these first halves, you start to realize that not only are the Denver Nuggets beatable, but they're dominatable. You can dominate this team, not just beat them. You just got to overcome your psychological disadvantages, and I think Game 4 went a long way in helping us do that. Long way. Now, am I saying the Lakers are going to come back and win this series? I'm not saying that. I'm telling you that if people look close enough at what's been going on, you've seen an opportunity for the Lakers to have held all of the leads that they've had and sweep the Denver Nuggets. And when you play a team 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, you start learning. And if we're learning what we need to be learning, then we know what we need to do over the next 4 quarters to create a Game 6 opportunity. But the key, beyond the psychological stuff, is to react well to altitude. React well to that Denver Nuggets altitude, man. And that, for me, is what I'm most concerned with. Are we going to go up there, get hit in the mouth, and then not have the energy to come back? Now, here's the key, though. Something I heard this morning on Laker Nation. The Denver Nuggets starters have been playing a lot of minutes. They don't trust their bench. So at some point in time, the Denver Nuggets could, in theory, start getting a little tired. And if you weigh that fatigue, that potential fatigue against our desperation, we may be able to squeeze this Game 5 out, man. I don't know if the Denver Nuggets are tired yet, but I'm telling you, they're playing a lot of minutes, man. Those guys are playing a lot of minutes because they can't trust their bench. So going back and forth between LA and Denver, altitude, no altitude, altitude, no altitude, that's not easy. That's not an easy thing. And so for me, I'm just wondering, can the Los Angeles Lakers squeeze this particular victory out in altitude? Because what that will do is give you a 2-game winning streak against a team that you've had an 11-game losing streak against. It means that you likely kept a lead or out-executed them in the fourth quarter, which is a demon of ours that we still have to try to work out because we beat them here but not there. If we can beat them there, then really it's just about us taking those psychological helpers, so to speak, that have ultimately been disadvantages for us and propelling us forward to whatever success we can garner by doing things the right way. And if you do things the right way in Game 5, you've already done things the right way in Game 4. There's no reason to believe you can't put yourself in a very strong position to do so as the series progresses, if it does indeed go further. So a lot of this has to do with the Lakers already seeing themselves get big leads and just simply believing that they can do the things necessary or overcome what would otherwise be an early start for the Nuggets to try to find a way to cover whatever that deficit would be. And that's a tough challenge. If they go up by 15, 20 points tomorrow, or what is it tomorrow? I think it is tomorrow. Understanding and believing that you can run plays and get things done that ultimately cover that difference, no different than they've been able to cover the difference of your leads, because you're able to get those leads. So that's going to be the key, the psychological key for the Lakers, to overcome whatever comes their way. If they get a big lead, not to get caught up in the idea that you're watching a return to what we had escaped in Game 4, but to understand that you did certain things with a lead in Game 4 that helped you overcome that demon. It didn't go away. You pushed it away. You see what I'm saying? You did things the right way, and it put you in a position to enjoy success. When you did things the wrong way, for which we have 3 games of evidence plus other games that we've had against the Denver Nuggets to show us when we did things the wrong way, obviously got the wrong result. That evidence is in place. We got plenty to study of ourselves and of this team. And so, and vice versa, of course. And so that's what I have to say. I think the Lakers, it's up to them if they want to take this psychological circumstance and make them better so that they can extend their series, or if they're satisfied with getting a win in this series and calling it a season. Because sometimes when you're down 3-1, having lost 3 straight to start the series, you really are satisfied with just a gentleman's sweep, because obviously the team is better than you. You know what I mean? If they hit you in the mouth, you're probably not going to come back. But I thought the Lakers probably wouldn't come back and play hard in Game 4. They proved to me and to themselves that they were willing to keep fighting, that they did want to go back to Denver instead of going to Cancun. If they didn't want their season to end in disrespect. And the question is, are they satisfied? Do they feel they've gained the respect that they were ultimately after? Was it just about getting one game? Or was it about trying to make this a real series? Because at the end of the day, what the evidence shows you, if you're not emotional about it, is that you could have won all of these games. And it took a miracle shot in Game 2 for them to win the game that they won there. This should be a tie series. Assuming that you're able to just win that game. Not the other 2 that you had big leads in. You see what I'm saying? You, if you're looking at yourself as confidently as you should, understand that not only did you have an opportunity to win Game 2 where they hit it at the buzzer, you had an opportunity to win all of the games that you've played in, and you could have swept the Denver Nuggets. So if you're having trouble with your confidence, you're not paying attention to that evidence, is what I would tell the Lakers. If you ain't looking at this from the most optimistic perspective, then you're not giving credit and you're not giving yourself the flowers that you deserve. Because if anybody should be optimistic about beating the team, it's a team that has had big leads in all of the games they lost. That's not how series go when you're down 0-3. They don't be having 10-point, 15, 20-point leads in each game. No. You had to be doing things right. And then that be consistent. Man, if I'm Denver, I'm concerned. And if I'm saying from Denver perspective, you really need to win Game 5. Because if the Lakers start realizing how much they've actually dominated in this series, they're going to understand that not only are they capable of winning Game 5, they're capable of winning Game 6 and Game 7. And that's something, if you're the Denver Nuggets, you absolutely cannot allow the Lakers to do. And that's the urgency that I expect to come out in the first half with their crowd behind them and hit us in the mouth. I would not be surprised if they go, if the game starts 0-12. Would not shock me, because that is the urgency that Denver needs to use to keep this series from getting out of hand for them. Because we already have back against the wall desperation. So if they let us get another big lead, they've already seen where that has now been broken. That theme where they keep coming back from leads, they've already seen that break in Game 4. So it's like they can't count on that anymore. They've seen us overcome it. So they need to come out and punch us in the mouth, and we, Lakers, need to be ready for that. And if we don't succeed in responding to that, we need to understand that we can overcome that as this game progresses, no different than they have, because of the leads that we've garnered in this series. So I'm going to tell you the truth, man. as long as the guys believe that they found something in regards to focusing in the quarter 3 and quarter 4 and not blowing leads, I think we should feel as confident as any 0-3 team has ever played the game, because of how each and every one of the games that we lost actually were. And the games that we got swept in last year, we had leads in. And the games we lost in the regular season, we had leads in. And that psychological advantage held a lot of weight in helping the Denver Nuggets. Well, if it's gone, they got to play better. As simple as that. You can't trot out 70% and beat a Laker team that understands who they are. You see what I'm saying? It's you counting on them not believing in themselves and making certain mistakes and standing around in disbelief that helps you win the games you won in the series. If they find their confidence, then you got to play better. And so that's really what it comes down to. It's all about the Lakers' confidence, though. If they don't have any confidence, they're going to lose. They ain't going to win the games. But if they do have confidence, the evidence shows us that they've already dominated this team in multiple quarters, in multiple games, consecutively. And if they really cocky as hell, then they don't feel like not only that they should be up in the series, this series should have ended last night because we should have won all the games we were in. So that's it. What mentality does this team have? And do they understand what they've already accomplished? And do they understand how big of a mountain they just overcame? And do they understand that the Denver Nuggets going to have to self-manifest the desperation that they ultimately naturally are going to feel for being in the situation and haven't played well, Denver, on top of all that? I'm not going to say the Lakers have a psychological edge, but if they can step into their crazy, they'll realize that that edge is now taken from the Denver Nuggets. Now it's just up for them to perform as desperate as the circumstances demand and do things that have already proven themselves to work time and time again. That's what time it is. Joker being the best player in the world isn't why the Denver Nuggets are up 3-1. The Lakers not believing that they can beat the best player in the world is why the Denver Nuggets are up 3-1. It's that simple. It's always psychological. I said that from the beginning of the series, and I'll say it now in this situation. It is psychological. And once the Lakers start realizing that, then they'll understand that they do have some physical things that they can go to that give them advantages. And they do have some choices that they've made that can ultimately overcome some of the holes that they ultimately leave open, so long as they don't choose to leave the holes open that they do. Close the gap in certain areas by doing things carefully. You've made mistakes by taking chances, LA. Trying to go for steals. No, you got to hone in on safe defense, careful defense. That desire to take chances on steals that work against most teams, you got to tell yourself that that's death against the Denver Nuggets. And play safe defense. Don't dive past the guy, because if you find yourself out of position, it's hell. These are the things the Lakers need to understand. On offensive end, make sure you're feeding the hot hand. If it's Anthony Davis, you get him multiple touches, particularly in the third quarter. You feed him. And if they make a certain adjustment, you call the timeouts necessary to stop the bleeding, to identify what adjustments need to be made and then adjust to them without care, without worry. It's all about the site. It's all about the head of this team, man. It's not about X's and O's at all. It's not about us being at a disadvantage size-wise. None of that has kept us from having huge leads in this series. None of it. It's all psychological, 100% in my opinion. So if the Lakers have indeed the desire to continue to keep this series going, I'm telling you that I see every reason for them to believe that they can win Game 5. But it's that trait that they have, salute the Kobe minute, that desire within them that will ultimately determine if they're better than we believe them to be up until this point. But Game 4 went a long way in the belief. Now it's just up for them to execute and particularly do it in altitude. Prove you can do it in altitude. Because that's an advantage Denver has on us. But that's what I got to say, man. I hope this video reaches the right eardrums, man. Because if they win game 5, we're going to start believing. And if they lose game 5, it won't be any skin off our backs. They just prove themselves to be exactly who we thought they were all season long. It's not that very good. But if they can win game 5, they would have done something in this series. I'll tell you right now. They win game 5, and even if they lose game 6, I'm going to feel pretty good about how this series went. Because it's respectable. It's respectable. And that's all we've been asking is for this team to get us our respect. I'm not asking them as a fan to win the series. At this point, I'm asking them to gain my respect. Winning game 5 and the manner in which you do can go a long way in helping me feel like you're doing that. Get this thing to 6, LA. BDO 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.